Good Tuesday afternoon. It is September 24th, 2019. I'm meteorologist Tim Pandajis here with an update on our three named tropical storms out in the Atlantic basin: Jerry, Karen, and Lorenzo. Here's how it looks on the basin satellite imagery right now. You can kind of point out those three systems. Most importantly, Karen right now impacting Puerto Rico. We're first going to start with Jerry and show you this system looks nothing like a tropical system right now. It's been weakening slowly. We're down to 50-mile-per-hour winds with gusts up to around 70. But notice we cannot really see a center of circulation on this imagery. This is the infrared. But if we switch it up to visible, you can see that exposed low-level circulation there, very obvious on that satellite imagery, with all the convection displaced off to the east side of the storm, thanks to that strong westerly wind shear that's been impacting the storm now for the last couple of days. Here's where it's heading in the next couple of days. It will be impacting Bermuda, but not as much as Umberto did, which is some good news. By that point in time, it's just barely hanging on to tropical storm status with winds around 45 miles per hour. The center of it passing northwest of Bermuda, then becoming a remnant low, heading into the middle of the Atlantic by the time we get towards the upcoming weekend, and just petering out after there. Let's go out to Karen now. Yesterday it weakened back down to a tropical depression. Now it is re-strengthened back to a tropical storm. And you look at it here presenting on satellite imagery, and it does look much more organized. Plenty of convection thunderstorm activity. This again is the infrared imagery. And when we see the blacks and the whites and the pink showing up here on those cloud tops, that indicates very healthy thunderstorm growth, very high cold cloud tops with those strong storms moving northward slowly towards Puerto Rico. Show you here on visible satellite imagery, more of the same. You can kind of see the bubbling up of that convection or the thunderstorm cloud cover. I want to show you radar now, because this kind of shows us where the actual center of Karen is. You can see it, the spin here, now likely setting up to the west, or excuse me, to the east of Puerto Rico right now, and heading up near the Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands here. What does that mean for Karen's future? Well, if it was tracking a little farther to the west and had more of a land interaction with Puerto Rico, mountainous region here, it would likely weaken it. But since it's going to miss out on that land interaction with that center, moving over open water for longer, that we could see a stronger Karen emerge to the north of Puerto Rico as it heads into the Atlantic. Surely plenty of rain here heading towards Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands here. We're talking anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of rain or more in some of these areas as we head through the next 24 hours here. As you can see with the computer models, some of the heavier bands over there, upwards of 6 to maybe even 8 inches of rain before it moves on out to the north. So pretty straightforward track here in the next couple days. All models, good consensus of it tracking north. But by the time we get to Thursday and Friday, we're going to run into an obstacle. High pressure, a building ridge to the north here, will likely slow it down, maybe even stall it out, and then a lot of models are indicating that shove off towards the west. Here we are at Sunday 9 a.m. It's petering on the hurricane status at that point. We're up to 70-mile-per-hour winds. We need 74 or greater to become a hurricane. So how do the models see things? So we'll show you the GFS ensemble here. All 21 members of that. Notice they are indicating the same thing like we just saw there from the Hurricane Center track. Moving to the north, hitting that ridge of high pressure, and then taking that turn off towards the west. How about the other computer models here? Well, it's the GFS ensemble again you're seeing here, moving off towards the west with a few of those members. Then you have the European ensemble. 50 members within this suite, and you notice a lot of them all take it north, and then a good amount of them, say over a dozen or so, take it off towards the west here, most indicating a stall as it moves northward. So what's going on here? Well, we have that building ridge to the north, as I mentioned, kind of expanding eastwards, and this may end up stalling Karen and eventually turning it towards the west and possibly threatening the southeast coastline if, in fact, it does stay together. There are a lot of indications that the atmosphere in this particular part of the ocean where Karen will be heading is a lot more conducive for it to strengthen. We're looking at lower wind shear, very warm sea surface temperatures up into the mid-80s. So we could see that certainly strengthen here in the coming days, and we're obviously going to continue to watch it. All right, we have Lorenzo out there as well. This is the newest addition to the bunch. Was named yesterday morning at 11 a.m. This is the most organized out of the three. You can see a very broad rotation here, very large storm. This is a wave that just emerged off the coast of Africa 48 hours ago, and you can see it here on water vapor imagery. It's holding off any dry air. Moist air Dry air is in the yellow and the rust color, so not seeing any of that pulled in to the overall circulation. It continues to strengthen, 65-mile-per-hour winds right now, and this is forecast to become our 5th hurricane of the year and our 3rd major hurricane of the year, as it's forecast to become a Category 3 storm with winds up to 120 miles per hour. Wouldn't doubt if this is a little bit stronger than that, but the good news is with this track, at least in the foreseeable 5-day future, does take it out in the middle of the Atlantic and not threatening any major land masses. So that's some great news there. Any updates coming your way at 5 o'clock with the next National Hurricane Center advisory? If you have any questions, comments, you can always find me on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.